On the Home tab, we have Sort and Filter. That's what we're going to go through in this video. There are filter and sort functions, so you can actually write formulas to filter and sort your data. I have another video on that. I'm just going to show you some of the basics and then a few tips and tricks. We're going to do filter first of all. I have this data set. If I just place my cursor there, you can see there's over 1,300 rows. So that's quite a lot of data to trawl through. We're going to use filters instead. For instance, at the bottom of this, we've got my IT category. So every time I might want to look at the IT parts and data, I've got to keep scrolling down. So I just place my cursor anywhere in my data set and then come over here to the sort and filter. It's under the editing group and go down here to filter. You can now see that I've got these drop down arrows on my headers. I'm just going to go ahead and start showing you. So if I just click on one of these, you can also see you've got your sort options here as well. Here are my categories. So I'm on the category field and it actually just gives you a list in alphabetical order of your categories, your unique category options. Here I don't have it in alphabetical order. So here sometimes I do just click on here as a bit of a shortcut just to see all of my options. So rather than me scrolling through, I can quickly see I've got these 5 categories. So one of the most basic things would be is to filter on the category. Let's look at the IT. There we go. I don't know if you can see, but when it filters it, you've got your row numbers and obviously it's hidden all the categories that aren't IT. So my row number now is at 1380 and all of these here, I don't know if you can see on your screen, but these row numbers have a blue font rather than black or grey, dark grey. That's an indication that you have your filters on. Sometimes someone might send you some data and you might not actually realise that it has a filter on it. You just have to be careful sometimes, and if you're using filters, try and just clear them all at the end. You could, using VBA, actually set something up where it automatically clears all your filters every time you close the file or upon opening the file. So you've got this funnel here, so that indicates that you've got a filter on, and the blue row numbers here indicate you've got a filter on, and then you could just go back in here and clear filter. And then got your normal rows there, and none of these have got the funnel on. You just have to be careful. So if I have a filter on here, let's use another one, electronic components. And if I were just to deselect some of these and then reselect a few random ones, I could clear this filter here and not realise that I've still got this filter on here. Hopefully you wouldn't notice, but it's not as obvious here that I've still got a filter on. In that scenario, when you've got more than one on, you can go over here and clear. And that's removed all our filters. I use a shortcut Control-Shift-L. I use that all the time. I toggle my filters on and off and clear my filters using Control-Shift-L. That's one of my more popular shortcuts. So let me just put a filter back on again. So we deselect these and pick the ones we want, or we have select all and we deselect the ones we don't want. Okay, so you can see I've got the filter on here and these are in blue here. I'm just going to put my cursor there and this is going to clear my filters. What it also does is remove the filter headers, so I have to toggle them on and off as well. So Control-Shift-L once clears the filters, so that's a full list now, and Control-Shift-L, I put my filters back on again. Let me just use one of the other options. Let's just do IT again so you can see it a bit clearer. So Control-Shift-L is going to return all my data. It will remove the headers, so I toggle them back on again with Control-Shift-L again. So I just very quickly press Control-Shift-L twice. So Control-Shift-L to remove the filter, Control-Shift-L to put the filters back on. Here we have text filters. I could say for the category where it equals IT. So rather than ticking them, you could use this. This would be the slower way of doing it. Equals IT, text filters, or contains because I think I've got electronic and electrical as my categories. Okay, so electronic components shows up, electrical supplies, consumer electronics, and IT. So it's just removed the hardware. But you probably wouldn't use those text filters in that scenario. It comes up as a custom filter, so you can click on these. It takes you to the same screen here, so you can just use various ones. contains is quite a useful one. And you've got begins with, does not begin with. So you could say begins with elect. Remove that one. It's just, we don't need this one. And we've got electronic components and electrical supplies. So it's worth playing around with these. It's best to look at it under the custom one here, so you can just see all the options there. And then you've got and, or. You're most likely to use or. And is going to be quite specific. And then I do my Control-Shift-L twice. There we go. So let's just look at the numbers, number filters. Again, you've got equals, does not equal, but these are more useful here. Greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or between. There is a top 10. I tend not to use that. There's a function called take, and I've got that in one of my formula videos, and I tend to use that. I don't always find this that useful. Equally, you could just sort this, and here you've got your top figures, and therefore these are your top products. There is a filter by colour option. It's greyed out for this because there is no fill in any of my cells. So if I just Control-Shift arrow down, select those and do a conditional formatting, to highlight where any of these are greater than, it's already selected a number for me, but I want a higher number than that, 800. Okay. And just press Control Home to get back to the top. And here I can filter by colour. So those are all my higher value ones, all the ones over 800. So do Control-Shift-L, Control-Shift-L again, and I'm just going to clear that conditional formatting. I mainly use it to find duplicates. So I've just added a random duplicate. So if I just highlight here, conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, duplicate values, you have got the options duplicate or unique, but for this I need to select the duplicates to highlight in red. Okay. So it's very hard for me to eyeball data to find duplicates with all these part descriptions. So I can scroll down, I can see it's in pink there, there's one there. So I've got a hardware option in between my electronic components, and it should highlight the other duplicate as well. And there it is, the hardware ground anchor. But obviously it's a bit of a pain to scroll through, so you can just go on here, filter by colour, and there we go, it's highlighted your duplicates. It might not necessarily be a mistake, I might just want to highlight or just double check things that are the same. So again, Control-Shift-L, and I just remove that conditional formatting. It's best just to play around with it and look at all the different options. And say you've got different ones for obviously text and numbers. There are a couple of tricks. The first one is quite clever, but I don't actually get to use it that often, but it can be quite useful. So I might want to look at any totals here that are greater than 800. So I could just do what I did before, number greater than 800. There they are. Or if you didn't have that many, you could even just go to your list, deselect everything, and then just select the ones that match that. But for this one, there's quite a few, so it would take too long. The shortcut is, if I just go to the end, so I'm pressing Control End, just to bring me down to my last row. And in this cell here, directly underneath my data, I'm going to put greater than 800. My cursor is still in that cell, so I just need to click away, then click back on it to select that cell. And up here, I've got something called Auto Filter. This is on my Quick Access toolbar. I have a separate video on the Quick Access toolbar and how to add commands to that, especially if you use those commands quite regularly and they're not always easy to find on your menu or your ribbon. It's best just to have them up here. So there's a separate video, it's under the basics, the layout and navigation video, and it shows you how you could add this auto filter up there. I've got my greater than 800 selected, and I just actually press this button, auto filter, and there are all my results that are over 800. Control-Shift-L and Control-Shift-L again, Control-N to get to the bottom. Let's just try it again, but with a higher value so that there are less results, 850. Just need to click away and reselect it. Auto filter. There we go. So it's actually quite quick, possibly just slightly harder to navigate, but in some ways it's quicker than clicking on here and then choosing greater than 800. I'm just going to show you another scenario. Control Shift L and Control N to get to the bottom. I'm just going to clear that and we're going to move over here. I just want to show you the wildcard. The wildcard is the asterisk symbol, and that is just when you don't know the characters or you don't want to specify characters. So in here, I want all the part numbers that begin with EC. Obviously, in this scenario, it would be better for me to just filter the category on electronic components because all my electronic components start with EC, but I'm just showing you this as an example. So EC wildcard. Just click away, click back on, auto filter. I've got all my EC part numbers. I'm just going to narrow it down a bit more. So in here, I'm just going to put EC1. So any part number that begins with EC1. So it's going to remove all the ones that are EC2 or EC0 at the beginning. So click on here, auto filter. There are my results, EC1. So let's just Control Shift L. It's best just to always clear the filters before you do a new filter, just in case, otherwise it can get confusing. You might have several filters on at once and that might not give you the correct results. So let's just Control N to get to the bottom. And here we're going to do wildcard circuit. I want any part description that contains the word circuit. I've deliberately written in capital letters to show you that it's not case sensitive. So hopefully if I just click away, click back on and auto filter, these are all my parts that contain the word circuit. So this would be similar to your contains option in your text filters. Let me just Control Shift L and clear that. So that's just a little trick there. I do have another way of doing something similar, and this is probably the proper way of doing it and what Excel have actually built in themselves. I just want to add something up here, so I just need to make a bit of room. I'm just going to highlight these, right click, insert, just so we've got a few rows here, and then I'm going to highlight the headers, Control C to copy, Control V, paste. Okay, I can write my greater than 800 here. If we go to the Data tab, we actually have these sort and filter options here. These were on the Home tab, but there's this advanced one on the Data tab. If I click it, advanced, I've got this, advanced filter. Let's just leave that there for now, filter the list in place. That's what we've been doing, just filtering out the data that we don't want to see and keeping the results that we do want to see. It's automatically selected my range, it's recognised that as my range. Criteria range, that's my new little table up here. So if I click here, this is my criteria range. Let me just go ahead and press OK. It's filtered it by everything where the total value is greater than 800. Let me just do Control Shift L to clear that. Let's say we want to see all the electronic components that are greater than 800. So I could put either copy and paste that into my category. I'm just going to do it over here for now with the wildcard as we did before. EC asterisk. And then if I just click back in here, advanced, I don't need to amend any of these. It's still the same list and my criteria is still in the same cells. Okay. So where the SKU begins with EC and the total is over 800. So that's both. Let me just Control Shift L. Let me move this down here just so you can see the difference. So that's like an and. The SKU needed to begin with EC and it needed to be greater than 800. Let's just try this instead. Advanced. I just need to make an amendment. My criteria range now extends down to row 5. So I can either just overtype that 4 to a 5 or I'm just going to reselect that area there. Okay. So now I've got all my electronic components. So any part that begins with EC, so it's for all of my electronic components. And then the rest is just anything that's over £800. Hope that makes sense. Control Shift L. And let's just move that back there. And now what I'm going to say is I want to return any row where the SKU begins with EC and the total is greater than 800. And I also want to see all the IT categories. So I just type that in there. Go to Advanced. I'm just going to do something slightly different this time. So this range is the same. That's good. My criteria range is the same, down to row 5. I'm going to copy it to another location. So I want to keep my original data set. I want to keep referring back to that, so I don't want to keep filtering it. So copy to another location and just here, copy to, I'm just going to put it next to it here. Okay. So there are my electronic components that are greater than £800, EC and over 800, and all the IT options. It's a shame because I don't actually use this that often. Don't really have the need for it, or I just use other things. I'm going to show you in other videos the filter formula, the filter function, along with sort and transpose. And also when you use pivot tables, that can do a lot of this for you with regards to filtering. You can use slicers, and it automatically sorts in alphabetical order as well. So when you're using pivot tables, you don't always have the need to adjust your data in this way. So I think that's just about covers the basic filters. Let's now move on to sort. I'm just going to put my headers back on. So my sort is over here, but they are actually visible. Control-Shift-L. When I select one of these, I can sort using these. I'm going to mess this up a bit because I actually don't have this in any particular order. This isn't in alphabetical order. You can see here, actually consumer electronics should be first. I just chose the electronic components first, electrical supplies, consumer electronics, hardware, IT. So it's not really in any order. So once I've got those categories, these are in order, the part numbers, but these aren't in any order either. So at the moment, this is just a bit of a mixture. When I start playing around with these, I'm going to mess up that order. So let's see. So here I can say sort A to Z. It doesn't automatically put those in the correct order just because that's how they were in the original table. So this is now in alphabetical order. I can now put these in alphabetical order. And with the totals, I want to see my biggest sales, so I could just say sort largest to smallest. So I want to do it in this order. And same for any of these, sort smallest to largest. 25 is my lowest quantity, and 75 is my highest. If I just look in there, I can see that 25 is my smallest, 75 is my highest. So again, you can just play around so you can get your head around the sort. I don't think it's that complicated really, just for this scenario. You may want to sort one column and then the other column. So let's just go up to custom sort. So over here, I actually have it up here on my quick access toolbar. Let's just go over here, custom sort. So I could say, let's sort the category, cell values is the correct option there, A to Z, add level. Then sort, I don't want the part description, I then want the part number in alphabetical order. So there, that's the SKU, A to Z. And let's just see. So that's back to how it was when I sorted the category in alphabetical order. How do I get it back to how it was before, where I had the electronic components first? I'm just going to actually change this to descending because I want to show you something else. So I want this in the original order that I had it, where it was the electronic components first. There is no easy way for me to sort that. I've only got this option. I can set up a custom list, so Excel will use that list and put my categories always in that order that I specified. It already does that with the months and days of the week. I don't know if you've noticed when you start entering January, February, it automatically puts it in the correct order rather than in alphabetical order. That's because there's already a custom list in Excel set up to put it in that particular order. And that's the same with days of the week. So what I just need is a list of the order that I want it in, and then I can refer to that range. So rather than me actually typing out all those categories again, I can refer to this list. I've got all my categories there. I just want to bring them back once into a list here. So I can just say equals unique. And then I just select all my categories. Control Shift, arrow down, enter. So now I've got a unique list that's in this order here. That's why I just reversed that order so I could show you. So if I wanted it in alphabetical order, could wrap this in sort. You can specify the sort order, but if I don't specify it, Excel automatically does it in ascending, so that's fine as it is there. And that's my list in alphabetical order. I was just showing you that as an example. I actually want it where electronic components is first. So I could copy and paste these over here. I'm just going to hard key them here. The unique is an array function. You see it's got this blue box, so I couldn't actually copy and paste that. If I try and Control C, it doesn't actually work, because when I'm in here, I'm not actually in a result there. My formula is all in the top cell. So I'm just going to hard key this so it's pasted as values. When my cursor turns to arrows, I right click, drag away, drag back on top of itself, release my mouse, copy here as values only. So now you can see that's not a formula anymore. They're my hard keyed values. So now I can just put it in the order I want. So I want that one first, then that one, then that one, and those two. So this is my new category order. All I need to do is go to File, and down at the bottom, Options, and here you want Advanced, and just scroll towards the bottom. Edit Custom Lists. So Excel already has these. You can understand why you wouldn't want these in alphabetical order. I can actually, in this box here, I can import this range here. So I just select that, import, there it is. Okay, I can delete this now. So now I can go to my custom sort, my category. I've got my custom list option. That's the order I want it in. Okay, that. If it hadn't come up with the SKU order, can't tell, they all look okay actually, I could then custom sort category in this order, my custom list order, add a level, then my SKU in ascending. Just to show you something different, let me do the part description. So I want the category, then the part description in alphabetical order. So now you've got this. And now this isn't in any order. So that's basic sort and filter, just using the commands over here really. And also we did just show you the advanced one here. I've got other videos. So there's a video on filter, sort and transpose, where you can use a formula to do these filters instead. And obviously my pivot table video pretty much covers a lot of these commands and some of my formulas as well. So it's worth watching that.